This is Support is Sexy, episode 492, with Charlotte Pearce, founder and CEO of InkPact. Welcome to Support is Sexy. I'm your host, Elayne Fluker, entrepreneur, author, and founder of Chic Rebellion Media. 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, I bring you inspiring women entrepreneurs who share their wins and lessons to help you take your business to the next level. Here we go. Hi, everyone. Welcome to a new episode of Support is Sexy. I'm happy to have you here. You know, it just would not be the same without you. And if you are a woman entrepreneur who is looking for a way to get your message out there to connect with new audiences and potential clients again and again, consider podcast guesting. It's one of the most effective ways to get your message out there. This isn't just me saying that. There's been research. But if you haven't done it before, maybe you need to brush up on your skills a little bit. Don't worry. You can download my free guide on how to be an unforgettable podcast guest at girlonpodcastgift.com. That's girlonpodcastgift.com. Learn how to be an unforgettable guest for all the right reasons. Now, today, I am delighted to welcome our guest, Charlotte Pearce. We had a delightful conversation and spoke about, you guessed it, surprise and delight for your customers. This is important, especially today in the age of automation. A lot of us are looking for ways, especially online entrepreneurs like myself, that we can automate different processes, not just to take the weight off ourselves to do things manually, but so we can be of the best service to our audiences. So if you buy something, for example, from me or whomever, and I have something automated go out to you to tell you more about what you purchased or what the process is going to be or anything like that, that you don't have to wait for, that makes the process better in most cases. Charlotte and I talk about, though, those personal touches, and her company, InkPact, focuses on the personal touch, namely handwritten notes that you can send to clients, customers, contacts, potential clients. But what I love is InkPact does incorporate technology into the process. So you'll hear more about that. Also, I want you to listen out for Charlotte's win-win-win philosophy, because she says 2 wins isn't enough. Also, why she says always think about what you can do to push yourself a little bit more. It doesn't have to be miles. It can be millimeters. So now get ready for a delightful conversation with Charlotte Pearce of InkPact. So Charlotte, thank you so much for joining us for an episode of Support is Sexy. I'm excited to chat with you.
Thanks so much. I'm really excited to be here.
Excellent. So our first question, when did you first fall in love with entrepreneurship?
I think my entire life I've always been pretty much in love with entrepreneurship. From the age of about 14 or 15, I loved selling things on eBay. It was my it was my bit of a passion project whilst being at school. And I have a great story about the reason why I started was I really wanted to go and see this band in my local town, and my parents didn't think I was old enough and didn't want to give me the money to go. So I had to find a way to make the money myself. And so that's when I started selling makeup and things that I would buy online myself. So I started there, and then I fell in love with more social enterprise and social impact, and then tech. And I guess the business that I'm running today brings together everything from the kind of online selling to the social enterprise and the tech. So if I look backwards, I can kind of join the dots to all the things that I loved into the business that I've created today.
What was it like when you made that first sale? Do you remember? Like that first bit of money on eBay?
Oh, it was amazing. It felt like I just did it at home in my pajamas, and it wasn't that hard. I remember thinking, this is amazing. I can make money at home in my pajamas. And all I did was take a picture a tiny bit better than someone else. And I did the copy on the kind of advert a tiny bit better, and I got a bit playful with it. And I thought, this isn't as hard as I thought it would be. And then obviously there are times where it has been more difficult and challenging. But the real simplicity of business is buy it for less, sell it for more, and do it with your own personality and a little bit better than somebody else. And I think that's quite freeing and that's quite liberating. So that's definitely what I felt. That kind of first sale was, I don't have to get this job, and I did a paper round at the time, and I kind of hated it, and had to go out in the rain and the cold, and I finally went, oh, I don't have to do that anymore. So yeah, I guess liberated was the word I would use.
Liberated. And I think this phrase that you said a few times is liberating too for a lot of people. Do it a little bit better than someone else, as opposed to sometimes we think we have to be 40 times, especially a lot of us as women entrepreneurs, 40 times as good as everyone else. And I talked to someone, well, several women have said men don't think like that usually.
Yeah, I go by the 2 millimeter rule. Is you only have to be 2 millimeters better than anybody else. It's not, it's not miles better, and it kind of relates back to sport, right? The people that win the 500 meters are only normally 2 millimeters, in front of the other person. And actually, it doesn't need that miles and miles difference. It just means a little bit better. And then you just constantly have to go for those 2 millimeters more. And that's great, because it's not such a big stretch, but it's still pushing you out of your comfort zone. And so, yeah, in the business and in life, I always talk about 2 millimeters. What's the extra? When I think I'm at the point where I'm at my limit, what's the extra 2 millimeters I can go to push it even further?
That's good. Very good, Charlotte. I love that. So now we know that you were enterprising as a young woman, obviously, but what were you like overall growing up? And did you grow up in Brixton, or you grew up elsewhere in London?
No, so I actually didn't grow up in London. I grew up in the Midlands, so in Worcestershire, kind of near to Birmingham, so definitely the middle of the country. And my family are, the most amazing, loving group of people, but they always had a trade. So, my uncle is an electrician, and a lot of my family are teachers or chef, or it was kind of a very trade right next to everyone else in the family, and everyone lives really close together. And I just had this desire to move away and to do something a bit different. And I guess from a really young age, I loved being on the stage. So I used to do a lot of amateur dramatics, a lot of dancing, and yeah, there's just something about being on stage, which now it's not really dancing as much. I'm not actually that much of a good dancer, or a singer, but public speaking is my number one favorite thing to do ever. I love storytelling. I love getting a room of people and just telling stories and listening from other people's stories and really inspiring people. And that's what the business is all about. It's about humans and telling stories. And so now a lot of my job, which I love, is getting on stage. And I think that came from not being scared of the stage ever. So I wasn't, that scared to dance on stage or sing on stage. And that's really helped me today. But I was always really inquisitive. So I got kicked out of biology when I was 16 because the teacher said I was being cheeky, but all I really was doing was asking why. Why are you teaching it like this? Why is it this way? And it kind of caused me a lot of problems when I was younger. I felt like I always got in trouble, and I was a cheeky one, and I got accused of lots of things which in their eyes was bad. And actually I look back today, and the first job I ever got out of uni was a consultant, and whilst I set up my business now, and I got paid to ask why. And it's fascinating that the same thing I kind of got into detention for and got told off for at school and when I was younger, I'm now getting paid for. Right. So I tell young girls in schools or young people in schools, which is keep asking why. Don't stop. Why is the best question you could ask, and keep asking and asking. And if you always act like a beginner, like you don't know, you actually learn better. So it's great that actually I don't really know anything, and I just have to keep asking people who do what they think. And I just started as a kid, and I was always seen as a bit cheeky and a bit out there, and I've kind of kept that because I think that's really important, to keep that inquisitive.
Yeah, thank goodness you didn't lose that. You're so right too, especially hopefully more people are becoming aware of giving kids a little bit more space to be who they are. But for some people that might have totally squashed their curiosity is really what it is, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Really for you today. So Tell us, what question did you ask yourself to come up with the idea for your company that you have today, InkPact?
Yeah, so interestingly, I didn't ask myself the question. So I ran a global social enterprise. It was part of an organization that still exists called Enactus, and it was all about, it's all over the world, and nearly every country across the world, and it's all about students setting up social businesses. So they have to make money and have a real human need that they're solving. And so I was at Southampton University in the UK, and we had an amazing an actors group, and I became president or CEO of this group. And we had 150 people in the team, and we impacted the lives of 30,000 people across the world. And I suddenly went, I have no idea what I'm doing. I don't know how to manage 150 people. I'm not, 19, 20. I'm figuring out life, and I've got this whole people's lives literally depend on my leadership and what we're doing. So I basically called a family friend who ran a coaching franchise, and they coach business owners. And I said, please, can I come and just learn about how you coach business owners, so that hopefully I can take some of that back into running this organization. And it was in that day where I was learning from them, one of the coaches said they were finding it really difficult to contact very busy CEOs. And they said online advertising isn't working, emails aren't really working, they're busy, they don't have time to read them. And one guy said, I love sending handwritten letters. And he said, I can write about 10 and then my hand hurts. And then I said, well, it was about the time where Uber and Deliveroo had just popped up. And it was also I'd got this background of working on these 30,000 people across the world that have very different backgrounds. And so many of them have got great handwriting. And I thought, there must be a way. You want hundreds of handwritten letters. These people want an income and a way to support themselves. There must be a way through technology and business to solve this. And so all I was really doing in that meeting is I put my hand up and said, Matt, how many would you like to write? He said 100. I said, great. We'll write 100 handwritten letters for you. And then, we accidentally started a business from that just opportunistic moment. And it's grown from there.
Wow. From raising your hand, basically, and tapping into, or not even tapping into, listening, curiosity to someone else's problem and thinking about ways that you could possibly solve it.
Yeah, and it was a win-win-win. So I have this thing in business and in life, and every interaction always, there has to be 3 wins. 2 wins is not enough. And so it was a win for me because I could take a little bit of money whilst I was at university. It was a win for him. He'd get his letters written, and it was a win for the people that I'd get to write because they'd get a source of income and some flexible working. And I thought, when something is a win-win-win, why would you not do that? And so that's the principle that I've taken forward for the entire rest of the business journey. My life, every interaction with everyone is 2 wins is not enough. There has to be 3 wins. And the 3rd win sometimes is the hardest to find, but always the one that has the most value to people. So, yeah.
I love that. 2 wins is not enough. So a win-win-win.
Yeah.
That's excellent. So tell us now exactly, how does InkPact work? How does it, how do you support your clients that you work with? I know you talked, it's obviously about handwritten notes, but how does it all come together?
Yeah, so it's our mission to help businesses to be more human and to send unforgettable moments of delight to customers. But when you're a big business or a small growing business, it's really, really difficult for you to take those moments of delight and actually deliver upon them. You know you want to have these memorable experiences for your customers, and you know you need to do something differently, but tangibly it's difficult to do it and do it at scale. So we've built 2 effectively products. We have an online platform. The best way to describe it is a little bit like MailChimp, the email software, but for handwritten letters. So you basically upload your logo, you upload the message you want to send, you choose your stationery, and you pay online and you schedule and send on an online platform. But when you press send, we then have hundreds of writers across the UK and also just across the US too. We've set up our Scribe Tribe over there. And we've got this group called the Scribe Tribe who then get sent your stationery that you've just ordered online to their homes. They physically handwrite every single letter, note card, and we have done gift boxes before. They package, they take photos of each one, gets quality assured, and then they put it in the post box, which means we can send hundreds of thousands of handwritten letters, but for you as a customer, you've gone through a very simple platform online. So most of our businesses, small, medium, and growing businesses use that platform. We then have a product which is a Salesforce integration. So for big companies that need kind of triggered automatic moments of delight, or they might have a customer call center, inside of their already existing CRM system, which we can work with any CRM system, but our predominant one is Salesforce. They have a magic button. So rather than calls or emails, they can press this InkPact button and send a handwritten note or a gift instead of the usual communications. And again, that goes to our writers that then send out. So we're really using humans, real pens, ink, paper, real moments of delight. But for a customer, it's just the same way you'd order anything digitally, but the impact is just so much higher on the end customer. And the sales and marketing results we've got from the back of it are just, are pretty phenomenal compared to more traditional, I guess. I say traditional, but more kind of online marketing. The results are miles apart.
It's so interesting. I love that. Well, I love the concept. That's why I wanted to talk to you. But also just I was thinking or wondering if it was it a computer program or a software or something that made it look like a handwritten note? And I love hearing from you that no, it's actual people
Yep.
handwriting the notes. It's not a workaround. These are actual handwritten notes that
Yeah.
go out. And I was wondering too, just as you just explained to us, how do you do something like that at scale? But you have writers all over the world that you work
Yeah.
with. That's
Exactly.
mm-hmm.
Again, that win-win-win situation. There are people with time on their hands. So we work with a lot of people that are mothers, a lot of people that have part-time careers, lots of people that have flexible working, a lot of students. We have some people that are recovering from different illnesses, or some people that might have come from a difficult background, and they have time. That's one thing they do have. They have time, and they want to earn some money, and they want to do something, but they can't necessarily work a 9 to 5. And so this is a perfect opportunity for them. We don't care what their CV looks like. They do a writing test, and they have to show us a piece of their handwriting, and they go through training with us. We don't care if they've been a lawyer or an accountant or what school they went to. So it gives an opportunity to people that may not otherwise have had an opportunity. So it's a win for them. It's a win for us because our business grows. And then some of the customers that we work with, we just did a case study with a retail brand, and they sent a handwritten note after a purchase online. And then half of their customers didn't get a handwritten note. They got just a normal communication. So we kind of split tested it. Mm-hmm. And the people that got a handwritten note, their basket size on their next purchase went up by 30%. And then their ongoing purchase rate went up by 58%. So just a handwritten note when they bought their first kind of product meant that they spent 30% more the next time, and they were 58% more likely to buy anything in the future just by one really simple handwritten note. So, when you look at that, you're like, wow, the results are amazing. And for the customer, it just was automatic because we set it up into their system. So yeah, it's a win-win for everyone.
Win-win-win. That's right. So what is the turnaround time like? So if someone comes to you and says, I have this project for maybe like the first person you mentioned, I'm sure 100 might be a small number for you guys now if you're working with Salesforce. I'm sure companies have a lot bigger requests, but what is your turnaround like, the whole process?
Yeah. So if you were to send 100, so you'd probably use our platform for 100. So you'd go onto our website and you'd do an order through there. We turn around in 7 days. So from the moment you kind of press enter and pay, we turn anything pretty much around in 7 days.
That's fast.
If you did, if you're on a subscription or you're an enterprise client or you work with Salesforce, we have already got your stationery set up. We've already got the automation set up. We can actually turn it around within 24 to 48 hours because we don't have to print the stationery, send it to writers. The writers already have your stationery because you're on a subscription with us. So if it's really good for customer service, because if somebody calls up and they're complaining, or they call up and they love your product or service and you want to get back to them instantly, if you're on a subscription, it's automated, it happens instantly, or they can just press a button and it happens in the same way an email kind of would. However, we actually physically put it in the post, so it's normally there within 48 hours. So it depends what type of campaign you're doing to turnaround times, but the aim is for the maximum impact, do it as quickly as possible.
Right. Now, you mentioned some case studies that you have and the success, of course, with helping companies sort of have their customers want to either buy more or buy bigger or a bigger price point and that kind of thing. But talk to us a little bit about why entrepreneurs, who are most of the women listening, need to, how they can realize that handwritten notes can really help build relationships in a different way, not even just increase business.
Yeah. So interestingly, one of our kind of mentors and advisors is from a company called Skyscanner. So it's sort of the booking app for flights. And I believe one of their biggest ever fundraisers was done off the back of some handwritten notes. So there's lots of ways. If you're trying to get someone's attention, you're trying to get known, you're trying to create this. The reason why handwritten letters work isn't just a pen and paper. It's the feeling that you get when you open it. I'm so significant. Someone even, someone wanted to send me this. What they must really want to speak to me if they're sending this, or kind of anything where it's an emotional connection or something you're really passionate about, you really care about. When you do it from a screen to a screen, it doesn't get that emotion, but there's something about ink on paper and opening it and the envelope and everything that has this sense of emotion. So if there's any part of your life or business, I mean, even if you're not using InkPacts, we really, really encourage people to just write thank you letters to each other. And for International Women's Day, we did this amazing campaign online, which is any woman could thank any other woman for anything using our platform. So they would type in the message and we'd write it and send it for them, just to spread some delight. I mean, we hear so much in the media in the world about all this negativity, but I genuinely believe humans are also amazing, and there's so many amazing women out there and people doing great things, and we don't always take the time to thank them, or thank them for being an inspiration, or tell them they're doing really good stuff. So we also like to use the messages to spread positivity and good as well. So regardless of whether it's a business campaign, or regardless of whether you're trying to raise funding, just that moment that someone knows you care about them because of the way you communicated with them. It wasn't a quick thought, it was you put some thought into like the message and how it was going to get to them. I think it's really important for anyone out there, so I'd encourage everyone, even if it's just yourself picking up a pen, it's amazing.
And do most of your clients work with you with, I guess your smaller clients work with you with one-off occasions, or is it, you mentioned you have a subscription model? Do people come to you year round, or not one-off occasions, I should say special occasions?
Yeah.
Do you see most of your clients utilizing your service?
It really depends. So if it's customer acquisition, sometimes people have a marketing campaign and they say, I want to acquire, 100 customers in the next year. They might do 1 or 2 campaigns to do that throughout the year. And that can kind of happen anytime. But a lot of the time, if it's thanking a customer for their purchase, or it's customer service, if someone hasn't had a great experience, you don't know when that's going to happen. That could happen 5 in one day, 500 in one day, 5 in a week. And so that's why you have the flexibility. If you want to do a one-off campaign, you can, or if you want to do a subscription, you can. And the subscription is like a number of credits every month. And if you don't use your credits, they roll over to the next month. So in one month, you might have had lots of complaints. Unfortunately, something went wrong. We all know those things do happen. But also the next month, you might have got absolutely smooth sailing, nothing has gone wrong. And so on a subscription, you can kind of tone it up and tone it down. But there are some times where you're just holding an event and you want 200 invites to go out, then you can use our platform for that as well. So we do cater for both, and small businesses do use us for both. But the flexibility of our software allows you to do it for either, and you can do it kind of in a couple of clicks online. So we work across every industry, and that's great. Sometimes a problem for our own marketing, as you can imagine. We work with anyone, but any business can use InkPacts as long as you need to communicate with somebody, your customers, stakeholders. This is a great way to do that.
So I'm sure everyone listening wants to know more about how they sign up, or I shouldn't say everyone. I know I do, and I hope everyone else do. The first thing I want to know is, how do I do this for myself, especially as a small business? But on the site, inkpact.com, you have all the information under pricing for what you just mentioned about the credits, how it all works, how many notes you get, handwritten notes, handwritten message, up to how many characters that you get. So all the information is here, everyone. I will make sure I link to it, of course, at inkpact.com. But I'm sure those are some of the questions that people will have. So that's excellent. And it's so for 55 credits, for example, 5 and 50 euro. That is right.
That's pounds.
Pounds. Yeah. And then 65 is 650. 85 is 850. Excellent. Mm-hmm. All right. Wonderful. This is great. So I'm wondering. So say. I always have selfish questions, Charlotte. So here's a selfish question. So say if I have a book coming out and I want to send handwritten notes, but with a book to clients or people that I just want to be in touch with. Is that something that you have people do, like sending a note with some kind of product or something, or is it always separate?
We do. It's a slightly different service. We call it our bespoke service. So we have done some crazy things, handwritten notes with all kinds of different things, or writing messages inside of books, even not just with a book. And we've done, we've got this amazing group, the Scribe Tribe, that can do lots of things. It is more of a bespoke pricing, and you kind of have an account manager that works with you on it. Mm-hmm. And sometimes we send the notes to you, you put them with the book and send them out. Sometimes you send the book to us. It really depends. But we have kind of a bespoke concierge service for things like that. So yeah, of course, we can pretty much do anything. We once did these miniature handwritten letters, which was so small you needed a magnifying glass to read them. And it was a bit of a press stunt for a jewelry company, and it went down really well. So obviously that's very different timelines, that's very different pricing. But of course, the world is your oyster. Anything is possible, and we love helping come up with those creative ideas as well. So if you just want a bit of inspiration, or you want a bit of thoughts or guidance on something you're doing, then we're more than happy to talk to you, and our bespoke team can kind of talk to you about that. We have a place on the website It's a pop-up that comes up called Subscribe and Delight. And what that does, if you fill it in, we actually send you an example of one of our letters or note cards. And then we'll kind of get in touch with you about how we can come up with some ideas and help you. And that's the time where you can kind of brainstorm and we can do a demo. So if you do want to actually receive something from us, then do fill in the Subscribe and Delight, and we will delight you with something. And then we can kind of open that dialogue into whatever you want, really. So yeah, please, if you've got an idea or you have a book launch coming up or anything, then get in contact with us and we can suggest what we've done for clients in the past. But we do say to people, don't underestimate just a handwritten note. It just goes amazingly well. And sometimes they might have bought a book and you send it after. So we do actually sometimes say, well, yes, we can do all this fancy stuff, but really just the simple is better. So we do it on a case-by-case basis. But yeah, please do get in touch, and we're happy to do a book launch for you if you have a book going out, of course.
Of course, I'll be chatting with you. Excellent. So also, I'm curious, with the stationery, I might have missed this. Does the client buy the stationery themselves? Like, do I decide whatever kind of stationery I like and then send it to whoever the writer is, or send it to you? Or can I, when I go to your website, can people pick the type of stationery they want on your site as well?
Yeah, you pick it all on the site. So we've kept it really simple because we did some studies, and sometimes if you go over the top with branding, it looks overly branded. And we go from a friend to a friend. That gives the best results of anything. So we have like 3 sizes of stationery. We've worked out the exact like GSM, which is like the thickness of the paper. And we have laid stationery, which means that it's slightly textured. So the ink of a fountain pen sinks in really nicely. I could get really geeky about stationery here. I won't.
I'm into it. Let's go ahead.
But yeah, so the way the fountain pen sinks into the laid paper, it just looks just so authentic and amazing. So we always really use our stationery because it also keeps it. You don't want to spend time having to buy the stationery, send it to us. That's a nightmare. We want this to be simple for you. So you literally go onto the platform, you choose what size you want. We've already picked the best stationery, and we've made sure it comes kind of like ethically sourced and it's recycled and that kind of stuff as well. And so we want to make your life easier. So just choose it online. We'll do everything else for you, so you don't have to worry about any of it.
And I see here actually under I guess this is the area where the stationery is personalized handwritten notes. I'm on your website, obviously. But for everyone listening who's not looking at it yet, don't look at it if you're driving. A lot of people listening while they're driving, but you'll love looking at it once you stop. But I see you even have suggestions for the type of things people probably would use stationery for. Invitations, right? Brand engagement. Personal touch, thank you and sorry, which is a little bit of a longer letter.
Yeah, exactly. So there's lots of things, like if you're doing a sorry, sometimes you need a letter to explain the sorry or whatever. But if you're doing an event invite, it'll be a much shorter. So we do give suggestions, and there's a couple of templates of copy on the platform that it says, there's 2 buttons. It's like it gives you 2 templates that you can edit. Or there's always a button that says speak to Sam. And there's a lady in our team called Sam who we call the copy queen. She is the copy queen. She's amazing. She was a songwriter, or she is still a songwriter. She just has a way with words, which we just don't know where it comes from, but it's just amazing. And so she can do like a personal consultation with you to work out what the best copy is for you and your brand. And obviously that's a little bit of an extra cost, but if you're investing in an amazing campaign, you want to get the message absolutely on point as well. So we do give you some hints and tips, but if you want fully bespoke service, then Sam can write something for you. And her songwriting background is perfect for this type of stuff.
I love it. Like you say, you can geek out about stationery. I geek out about the ways that we can surprise and delight our customers, clients, whoever. Yeah. I just love learning about companies like yours. Another one that I recently found out about is Bonjoro. Have you heard of Bonjoro?
I haven't. No, I haven't.
Where you can, everyone, I'll make sure I link to it. But in short, you can, if someone signs up for your email list or a new client or anything like that, you can immediately and easily, as you said, making it easy is always the plus, easily record a video for the person. So if you sign up for my email list, I'll get a notification on my phone. I could say, hey, Charlotte, I'm here at wherever I am, which makes it feel very in the moment. I've done it on photo shoots, etc. Hey, Charlotte, thank you so much for signing up for blah, blah, blah. I hope you, thank you. I'll be in touch with you, or let me know if you have any questions, etc. You can put a button on there where someone can respond back to you or go to another link. And then I send it right from the app. So it's
That's
so
great.
simple, but again, a surprise and delight. So I've noticed, as I'm sure people have with your handwritten notes, I've noticed getting a lot more response from people than if you just send the standard email after they sign up. It's great to do that too, but people are like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you sent a customized message. You said my name. So all those things for everyone listening to know, think of ways, even though we live in such an automated society now, right? Especially as online entrepreneurs, but which is good because we need that. But the idea of, as Charlotte's company, InkPact, being able to, in different ways, surprise or have that personal touch with your customer is so important not to forget.
Yeah, I talk a lot and I do lots of writing and speaking about this, which is it doesn't matter how techy the world gets and how advanced tech gets. A human is still making the decision on the other side, or there's still a human that is seeing or feeling and acting. So really, you have to remember there's kind of like core human needs, and we talk a lot about core human needs at InkPacts, which is one of them is feeling significant. One of them is variety. We love variety, and we love to feel part of something bigger, that tribe mentality. And so a handwritten letter ticks nearly all of the human needs. It's different, it's significant, it's proving that you're part of a bigger community and that people care about you. And love and connection is one of the biggest human needs, and there's something about letters but that have that connection. And so regardless of it, even if you are sending an email, just remember the core human needs. It doesn't matter how it gets there, via tech or via letter or via anything, but always remember that there is always a human on the other side, and that's really important. And that's why we say from a friend to a friend, lead with love. And I know love is a bit of a scary word for some businesses, but I think it is true. Love and connection is what we're really all here for. And so bringing that into business is so important. And that's something I talk about a lot on my personal social channels and just sharing the journey of an entrepreneur. It's all about love, connection, and fun. And those win-win-win situations. So it doesn't matter what business you're in. Lead with love. Let's put it all out there.
And I think to your point, I think even businesses now, some of them might, especially bigger corporations, might still be afraid of using the word, love or lead with love, like you said. But I do think even bigger companies now are recognizing the importance of that human connection. People care about who's behind the brand. You see I was speaking to someone the other day about, you see a lot of these bigger companies that have made, big mistakes. Things have happened, and they are putting out, I call them apologetic ads. They're beautiful ads, but it's all about, this is who we really are. And it's the CEO, pleading their heart of, this is what we're really about. It's about you. It's very much trying to make that connection now after the fact, as opposed to other businesses like yours, mine, some others who know that starting with love is a great way to be authentic and make connections with people.
100%. And actually, we do a lot of work. So with big companies, we do some consulting around how they be more human. How can you be more human? And you're this huge bank or this huge energy company or this huge organization, and it's your brand is still a human. It has a voice, it looks like something, it has a personality, and sometimes that gets a bit lost in process and systems, and as customers we want brands we love. But I do this in talks all the time. I ask the audience, name a brand, and we do this in the UK a lot, that you love, and the same 2 or 3 come up every single time. And how many brands are out there? So many, and the same 3 come up as the big brands, all the time. And that's because of their emotional connection, nothing to do with anything else.
What's one example of a brand, if you don't mind sharing?
Yeah, of course. John Lewis is one in the UK that comes up all of the time. They have amazing Christmas ads. Their customer service in store is great, and people just love the brand. And I don't know about the States, but it's just people, you can't hate it or dislike it. There is something about when you picture John Lewis, you picture thoughtfulness and caring and people, and in everything they do, they're all about the customer. And so people love them. They don't just like them, they absolutely love them. And so I think it's the strive for big brand, any brand should be, you want customers to love you. Like is not good enough. Like can change and may not come back as much. So it's really about what you can do to love, and it is a bold emotion, and you have to be courageous to build a brand that people love. But I really think it's those courageous brands that are going to be the one that stand the test of time. But it's not just about the love. They have to have a good product and service too. But that 2 millimeters, like we mentioned before, I think the 2 millimeter difference is the love and connection part. And yes, I think we should all be focusing on what that extra 2 millimeters of love and connection we could do above and beyond the kind of just the product and the service.
So how long ago did you launch InkPact? Did you tell us the year 2014, was it?
So I don't know, I'm not very good with years. But it was a bit of a side hustle about 4 years ago. My co-founder Andrew, who is the much techier co-founder, has a background in game studios and enterprise software, and he joined me 3 years ago, and we raised our first funding round 2.5 years ago. So I'd say InkPact as it is now launched about 2.5 years ago, but 3 years ago Andrew quit his job and joined me, and we turned, because InkPact started as a lifestyle business really rather than a tech business. We hadn't built tech from day one, but it meant we had customers before we built the tech, which is a big learning, because we didn't spend a load of money in building tech and then kind of pushed it on customers. We had customers first and built the tech to what they needed. So a big learning point there was, don't spend lots of money in tech up front. Get your customers, do it in the most concierge spreadsheet, whatever way you possibly can, learn and then build the tech. So yeah, we launched InkPacts as it is now, 2.5 years ago.
That's a great suggestion too for people that right away thinking about how can I bring tech into this. I love what you just said about do the customer service sort of part of it first and get to know what they need. Because I was curious about that. How did you think about bringing technology into this whole idea of handwritten notes? Because there are a few services out there that do that, but the fact that you can again do it at such scale is because of the technology.
Yeah, exactly. It's very similar to any kind of gig economy or kind of sharing economy type company, which is it's a kind of physical resource or it's a physical thing, but it's all leveraged and built on a technology platform. So this is why I write and talk all the time about how humans and tech work together. I think everyone's getting very scared about tech replacing humans.
AI, right.
And part of that is a little bit scary, but I think it's actually more if we get them to work together, it helps humans be better. And I'm all about using social media for good and tech for good and doing it in a positive way rather than being scared about tech and how do we leverage it. So that's really where it came from, which is, hang on, yes, we can be a tech company and still have this human impact. It hasn't got to be one above the other. You can do both of them, and they rely on each other and they make each other better. So I think the businesses of the future are the ones that realize that humans still make decisions and humans still live and evolve, and we're the ones who buy, and actually you need to use the two together, not one above the other.
What would you say has been the greatest challenge in the business in the past couple of years?
It's actually more of a personal thing than a business thing. So to find who I authentically am, and it might be something a bit strange to say, but I started the business straight out of uni, pretty much, and I was still figuring out life as well as the business.
Right.
And I thought I had to be this strong entrepreneur that always basically knew things. I thought I was supposed to have all the answers, and I was supposed to look and act a certain way, and I was supposed to do certain things. And actually, it was a bit painful to do that. So I'd kind of gone on this entrepreneur track, but I still felt I had to be a certain way. And then actually I realized that the more authentically me I am, the more vulnerable I am, the more I am all about having fun, and I love humans, and I love wearing good, slightly quirky clothing, and I love having fun and having a giggle, and actually that's me. And the more I do that, the better the business is, and the more vulnerable I am with anyone in my talks, with my friends, with the team, the better the business is as well. So it took me a little while to get authentically me, I guess. And the business has done better when I've done that, rather than thinking I have to be an entrepreneur that does this and I'm supposed to have all my stuff together and this kind of thing. And I think a bit of that is the media and social media and how it portrays things and how you think you should look. And I always say, don't compare yourself to someone else's highlight reel. So I'm looking at these entrepreneurs, and it happened to me. I was in Forbes. I was in the Forbes 30 under 30, and this article went online, and everyone thought I was absolutely bossing it, as they said. And there was me grinding away in the office trying to make things happen and make things work. And the media will portray one thing, and what actually is the reality is something else. And that's scary, especially for young entrepreneurs looking up, or someone who's thinking of moving and starting a business. It looks like you've got to have all your stuff together. And you know what? The best thing that I've ever done is realize I don't have the answers, and I have to keep asking why. Like when I was a kid, why is this like this? How can I do this better? And what can I change? And why did this not work? And those are the questions that the more I've been authentic to myself, the better the company has got, because I haven't let kind of the vision of what I'm supposed to be get in the way of just actually doing things for the right reasons. And it's also easier to be authentically you. It's really hard to try and be something you're not.
That's right.
Yeah. So the best lesson that I've learned actually is to be you. And I love the topic of vulnerability. I could talk about it for days. After all, we're a brand that helps people be more human, and being vulnerable is the biggest part of being a human. So I think, just embracing your own vulnerability. And I think Simon Sinek talks about the greatest leaders are the most vulnerable ones. They're the ones that people want to follow. And I think it took me a little while to figure that out, but I'm very glad that I have.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that. And I think it can't be said enough, what you mentioned about not getting caught up on what you're quote unquote supposed to be, and especially based on the social media highlight reels. I mean, in the US here, we had the passing, well, she's an international person, with Kate Spade, and how tragic that was, and some of the conversation around supposedly her having some feelings of fear about coming out about her condition because of fear about the brand. This is according to her sister, I should say, not my own assessment, but just this idea of such a fear about being able to be ourselves. And as you said, be vulnerable, and just for whatever reason, feeling trapped, or even just feeling like we need to pretend to look pretty. Well, we look pretty in the magazine, right? But like you said, you're grinding behind the scenes. So having that space to know that you can still be yourself is just so important for entrepreneurs, especially as more of us get into this field and sort of grind it out, having that space to just be like, I'm being myself here. I'm not going to get caught up in the supposed to be's.
And something, guys, social media is a huge thing. And I found it to be such a burden for a little while. I'm supposed to post, and I've done a talk, and now people want to hear from me, and they're going to follow me on this. And I found it initially just like, I want to post this, but I really want to post this. And I realized I had a bit of an aha moment not that long ago. It's like, I'm just going to post whatever the hell I want to post. And if it's me having a crap day, I'd rather post that. And be really honest about it. So I've decided that I stopped posting on things like Instagram for a little while, and I thought, no, I've got this message I do want to share with people, and I want to share the real journey of being a founder. And I think women we are naturally better at being vulnerable than men are, so we should use that. We should use that to our advantage. And actually, for me, on social, on in talks, etc., you'll always just get honest. We messed this up. This is what I did. I felt really crap about this, but also using it in a positive way of being vulnerable. So I try on all my social media. Is you'll see a picture in Forbes next to this is what really happened behind the scenes.
Right.
So I think it's trying to get a couple, women to be like, it's okay to be vulnerable, and it's even okay to post it on your social media, and just getting the conversation going. And I think, if that helps one person, then I'm glad I did it, kind of thing. So I think we should all just be brave, be courageous, and openly be vulnerable. I've never had a negative from being vulnerable. You think there is, and then actually when you do it, there isn't. There's only ever positives. So
you really connect with people.
Encourage everyone to do that.
So now on social media, is it at InkPact, or is it a different one for you? Because I'm sure people want to follow you now.
Yeah. So at InkPact is the business. We're at InkPact on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, etc. My personal one on Instagram is the Charlotte Pearce. Someone had already taken Charlotte Pearce, so I had to put the
and Pearce is Pearce.
Exactly, yeah. And then Twitter, if you type the Charlotte, and then it only let me have 3 characters, so I've got the Charlotte P. So the Charlotte P. It's nearly the same on both. But if you type in the Charlotte Pearce on both, you'll get me. So yeah, and again on LinkedIn as well. So I think it's really important that as entrepreneurs we share the real journey, because we're not superheroes, and we shouldn't try to be. We're just normal people, and I genuinely think that if they have the passion for it, anyone could be an entrepreneur. And so just showing that you're not superhero is a really good thing to at least encourage some other entrepreneurs. So yeah, please do follow me and get involved in some conversations I talk a lot about being human and vulnerability and leading with love. So if any of that resonates with you and delighting people, then please do, get involved in the conversation.
Absolutely. So in closing, Charlotte, if you think over your life and career, and you had the chance to thank only one person whose support was critical to you personally or professionally, who would that be, and what would you say?
I I think the big one for me is actually, well, both my parents, but particularly my dad. He was the one that at the age of 14 handed me my first personal development book, and made it okay that I didn't quite fit in at school, and made it okay that I didn't want to get a job and I wanted to start my own business straight out of uni when everyone else thought I was a bit crazy. So I think having that environment growing up with my dad saying, I encourage this, it's okay to do whatever you want to do, is really impactful. And I know how lucky I am to have had that environment. I know not everyone does. So to have that support network from a really young age of my family being really supportive and realizing that I didn't quite fit into the typical schooling methods, and that they had to get called in for detentions, and it wasn't always a harsh punishment on me. So I think that, my parents, but particularly my dad, for handing me those books and for listening to these Achievers Edge CDs in the car when I was younger. And I was listening by accident to a lot of personal development, all about how you should reach for that happy life, not just success on paper, but how you live this fulfilled and happy life. It's always been in the background for me. So yeah, I've got a lot to thank my parents for.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing that with us. I love that. Now, tell us how we can support you. Tell everyone, we've kind of talked about your website and the social media, but just so everybody can hear it, and anything you want us to know about that you guys are working on now.
Yeah, so we have just lots of conversations about being human in every sense. So mainly everything will happen on social media. We'll update everyone on social media. We have lots of things around kind of Christmas time that we're thinking about now, which is crazy because we're in, coming up to summer and we're thinking about Christmas. But the best thing to know about any of the delight campaigns we're doing, or we're potentially launching a podcast about being human, and lots of things like this. But it will all be coming out on our social media accounts. So please do follow InkPact and the Charlotte Pearce on Instagram and Twitter, and we'll be posting a lot and just getting a conversation going about being human, be that a brand or be that a person. So we just love you to join in this conversation, because I think just putting it out there and creating a community talking all about being human personally, and maybe starting a business and how you aren't a superhero, but at the same time how you make your brand human and loved, and that love and connection. So, but it's all very positive. We love positive stories, positive messages, positive people. And so if you're interested in any way in any of that, then yeah, please do follow us on social and get involved in the conversations.
And again, on your website, you mentioned for people who want to do either a consultation or just see how the process works, they go to is it the Let Us Delight You button?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, let us delight you, and you can fill in, and we can delight you with something on there. Or we always have an intercom on the site, so something will pop up, and you can talk to one of our wonderful team called Kate, who is on the end of the website at all times. So if you have any questions, or you hear this and you go, oh, I had a question, I really want to know the answer, then Kate is always there. So please do use intercom at any time and ping us anything. But if you do want to see what we do, then you can book a demo or anything like that on the platform. But if you want to get a note from us, then yeah, subscribe and delight is what you do.
Okay, perfect. I wanted to mention that again because I'm sure people are interested in knowing just how to see how it all works. So you have all the things here. Of course, I'll have all the links. But again, if you're going to the website now, immediately as you hear it, you can go there, click the button, and you'll be in the system, in the process. Excellent. Charlotte, thank you so much. This was a fabulous conversation. I'm so excited about your company. Can't wait to spread the word about it even more. I really appreciate you sharing your story with us too.
Thank you so much for having me. It's such a great podcast, and it's an honor to be here. So thank you very much. And if I can ever do anything for you, then yeah, please let me know.
Thank you. I'm going to be one of those people clicking the button very soon, right after this, before this even goes out. So you'll be hearing from me for sure.
Great. Thank you so much, Elayne.
You're welcome. Now, before you go, what's a parting piece of advice from you to our listeners about anything?
Great. I think it's just be authentically you. Just don't try and be anybody else. Embrace your strengths, and just be courageous. And yeah, go for it. I mean, why the hell not? I always say, write the first line of code, write that first blog post, do whatever. You probably will look back and think that was a bit rubbish. It's better to just get started and to do it in a way that you want to do it, and put you first. So I'd say, yeah, be authentically you and just go and be courageous.
All right. I hope you enjoyed that conversation with Charlotte and that you got a lot of advice and good tips out there of how you can apply the personal touch in your business. And of course, I know you want to check out Charlotte and more about InkPact. So just go to supportissexypodcast.com, go to that search icon at the top and type in Charlotte, CharLotte. Her show notes page will pop up with all of the links and the resources that she mentioned in this episode, ways to get in touch with her, and ways to find out more about InkPact. Supportissexypodcast.com and just search Charlotte. Thank you so much for being here. It's a delight, as always, to talk to you or to have you listen to me. I appreciate you. As I always say, it wouldn't be the same without you. Now, until we chat next time, always remember that you deserve support. And I hope this episode put a little smile on your face today. All right, I'll talk to you soon. Take care.